Welcome to Heather Ewing, the CRE Rundown. I am your host, Heather Ewing, and today I have the pleasure of sharing with you Calvin Lowe of PeacEquity. Calvin, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Definitely, it's a pleasure. So we've connected through LinkedIn, like many of my other great guests as well. It's just a emporium for great commercial real estate investors, brokers, lenders, you name it. I've known you for a little bit. Why don't you share with our audience more about you so they can get to know you?
Oh, great. Yeah, again, thanks for having me here. My name is Calvin Lowe. I'm a co-founder with my wife of PeacEquity. I'm actually a full-time pediatric emergency medicine physician. And my wife and I founded PeacEquity a couple of years ago. It has special meaning for us because the first four letters of Peace represents the first letters of my family's names. So it's Peggy, Elizabeth, Austin, and Calvin. As our philosophy is peace of mind, family, and generational wealth. So we're a real estate syndication. So we're real estate syndicators, and we help people along their journeys, along their for passive income. I've been a physician for over 30 years, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, it's time for me to start thinking about retirement. So trying to accelerate that. I grew up my mom has her own single family portfolio, so to speak, and she's 91. She's still active in the space. In fact,
I love it.
she just completed a 1031 exchange on a house, so just like a couple miles from my house here. So, but growing up, I have three brothers, four boys. I was the only one that had to do like the cleanups when the tenants come out, the painting, the tiles, the toilet, all that stuff. I didn't really appreciate it until like now, but I just want to deal with that. So we decided to go into the multifamily apartment space. Um,
Right.
Joined Academy, and my wife and I have the ideal situation where she's a homemaker, so she's getting her a real estate professional status, so that be all the good tax benefits for us.
Oh, that's perfect. And the neat thing about it, I have to ask, so were you the youngest brother that you
No,
got
no,
stuck with the cleaning?
no, middle child. The middle child syndrome, number three or four. Oldest, does all, bosses and all. The youngest is always the baby. So, I look back at just built character, I guess, to go through all this.
Exactly. Well, and if it makes you feel better, I am a middle child. It's funny, I'm one of four, and so two
Oh,
older and then a younger brother, but two older sisters.
oh, you're
And
number three as well,
it is
then.
fun to
Yeah.
see how things shift and shape us, right?
Right, 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 right.
So, how did you? That's quite a jump, right? How do you go from, well, and you're still active in it, but how do you shift or add in, I should say, the investing syndication portion when you're, I'm sure, working a ton of hours at the hospital? And, where do you even start to peel that onion?
Yeah, that's a great question because I've worked many, many hours. I'm to the point where I don't do work overnight shifts in the emergency department anymore. So it gives me some time. It's also shift work. So there are some days like I'm have this morning off to talk to you today because usually I'm not your typical 9 to 5 schedule. My
Right.
schedule is irregular, so to speak. So I do have time during the week. My wife also helps out as that as well. So it's difficult, but when I work, I try to network with other my healthcare professionals too as well. So I just parlay that into just education and all that. So and also just make taking calls and so forth. So I do have those. I have the advantage to have those hours during working business hours, which I technically do have off, but I can um, put that into my schedule. And it's difficult at times. So like, right now I'm in the middle of a capital raise and you're just like talking to people. But you just have to make it work. If you believe in it, you just got to do it.
Yeah, if there's a will, there's a way. And if you think about it, it kind of is a really nice structure because you're time blocking. It's almost like
Right.
the best time blocking because you've got this certain amount of time and you can get it all done in that and then really plan out the other days of the week, the month and beyond. So, all right, I have to bite. So tell me what you're raising money for. Maybe we'll have someone interested.
Yeah, it's I have to be careful. It is a 506B
Oh, okay.
offering.
Okay.
So they can always contact me and so that I can talk about that.
Yep. No, that's perfect. And we will include your contact information at the end. So, what do you find most challenging as a syndicator, right? You hear a lot of excitement about it online. Other places also can seem like it's easy money, right?
Right.
You invest some money and you're rolling in it. You're able to retire or be financially free. What would you say are some of the challenges with it?
I think just at the very beginning, it's getting started because for me, being a medical professional, I have no background in either marketing or business or finance. So just learning the ropes. I'm in a couple of masterminds now, and the information is just like a fire hose. Yes, I'm more comfortable now as I educate myself. I feel that the learning curve for going into the multifamily space was much steeper than medicine, honestly,
Right.
because I've been, working or studying science, math and all that stuff. So I would say naturally it became easier for me, but this is
Mhm.
a total different realm for me with this. And it's just all the marketing things, just talking to people. I do consider myself an extrovert, so I don't mind talking and so forth, but I have to be more comfortable to back up what I'm talking about. So I don't want to like say it's easy for me to say, if I don't know, I don't know. I'll find out for you. And it's the same thing in my practice
Exactly.
too. Like I said, geez, I don't know what you have, a disease. That's why I admit you to the floor. They'll find it. They're smarter people than I am. So that's how I get through. It's sort of like an analogous with that to the real estate business.
And that's a common trait of people that have been successful in any arena. You learn more and more about it, you gain the experience, and also it's that knowing that we're not omnipotent, right? We don't
Right.
know everything, and it's creating the pivotal partners, is what I like to say, in the different arenas, so that you can put the deals together, so that you can execute, deliver, and take advantage of those returns. So, where do you think investing is going to go in the next couple of years? Any feelings or opinions on that?
Yeah, I've always looked at because the market is kind of crazy right now, sort of a
Mhm.
downturn, and just learning about all the cycles. But I always have to look in the horizon. Things are going to get better, right? Because we're hoping the interest rates are going to cut back. The market's going to improve. So what I tell people, don't worry about today. Just look on the horizon because there's always history on our side, right? Because
Mhm.
property values are going to go up. Things are going to get better. Of course, there's risk on anything that you invest in, but like you said, if you partner the with great partners who have the integrity, the trust, then that will go far.
Right. And tying in with that, who would you say, is there a person or a particular book or something else that really inspired you to make this shift and then also to stick with it?
Yeah, everyone says rich dad, poor dad, right? But there's
Right.
actually a sort of an offshoot of that. It's actually a book called Why Doctors Don't Get Rich. It's actually a book written by Tom Burns. I was advertised this everywhere because he's a doctor, and it's sort of the rich dad, poor dad version from a doctor's point of view, where doctors are
Right.
working really hard and not really happy with their jobs. And because early in my career, I was sort of the yes man. And I was the yes man. I was taking on so many jobs, different things,
Right.
different shifts, just working, working, working. And my job became an idol, and it affected family time and all that. So as I look back, I say, man, I wish I could have that time that I missed out. You can't buy it back. But the book
Right.
really is really such inspiration for me. And what I do, I get these books and I hand out to my trainee physicians. Hey, I got a present for you. Or when you graduate from your fellowship, this is what you need. So just
Oh,
planting
I
this
love it.
and moving forward, right? So,
Yeah.
wonderful book. Even my wife read it and says, I actually learned more about this than Kiyosaki's book. I guess it's sort of certain terms that she's not in medicine, but she is married to a physician, so she can relate to, what the differences are. And we work really hard and just try to think we know what we're doing, just working, working, working. But again, that doesn't work out in terms of overall wellness in your life.
Right. And I think it's like any arena, right? The more time you spend in it, the more you realize how vast it is and that we can go our entire lifetimes and we'll continue learning and growing and expanding and different deal experience and what worked on this one and what didn't on that and the due
Right.
diligence. So if you enjoy having that growth mindset, which I know you and I both do, it's really the ideal place that you want to be. So
Right.
I could see you and your wife writing a book one of these days. That's what pops up. So I'm going to plant that seed for you,
Oh, great.
Calvin. Well, and I love too that you're paying it forward, because I think sometimes in life you'll see people that were able to bridge a gap, right? And
Right.
it's hard when you're working a ton of hours, have a lot of stress, different family things and trying to juggle it all. So I commend you for also taking the time aside to help others and to plant those seeds through books, through sharing what you're doing, and opening the door. And of course, you can only bring a horse to water. You can't make a drink,
Right.
right? But at the same time, I think that's something you can feel really good about each and every day.
Yeah. One of my avatars when I first started this, and it was still is the female attending physician or healthcare worker, because they have to balance a life as a wife, as a mother, as a physician or a nurse. And that takes a lot of, balancing and talent,
Mhm.
actually. Really, it's a gift that they can do that. And so it's
I
just
agree. That's a whole
unbelievable.
new level, right?
Right.
That's a master class. Yeah. So how would you say mindset ties into this?
Well, that's the thing, right? Because when I was growing up, my mom said you have to save, 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 right? Buy a
Hmm.
house, pay it off, and all this working, and put your money into retirement funds. So I'm working, working. I said I can't even touch these things, and it's a matter of
Hmm.
making that change. Said, okay, I don't have to pay off my house. I can do other things. I don't have to work as hard, and it's something that it's all about, because we're always earning, we're always achieving. Now I said, well, that's fine, but it's all about wellness in yourself, right? Because right now I've cut back in hours. We downsized our house. It was like the biggest thing for us, because I had this large house for the kids. It was the hit house, basketball court, batting cage. I'm like, okay.
Right.
But then they went off to college, and my daughter just got married. My son's engaged. They're out of the house, and the house was actually,
Congratulations.
thank you. It was actually too big for the four of us. Now with just the two of us, we
Right.
downsized, and it's just like the world just came off my shoulders, because I didn't have to work so hard. I didn't have to pay for these
Exactly.
things, and just it's not so much. Yeah, money is an important part of our lives, but it's really the wealth, that the quality time that you can spend with your family and friends, and things that you want to do, instead of just like, I have to go to work again, and do all that. I love what I do as a physician, but it's just the grind of driving back and forth to work. Because I know you've been in Southern California, the traffic. I've been here all my
Oh,
life. I've never gotten used to it.
I don't know
So
how you guys do it. I
yeah,
I don't
so
like I visited, and that's where I say too, there's a lot of beautiful cities to visit, but I would probably pull my hair out. It's like, and I'm here in downtown Madison, so I walk so many places. People give me a hard time of, Heather, do you know how to get outside of the downtown? But I do, to preface it. But something that you're bringing up is so important, and I think that some more people are beginning to design their life and going inward and understanding what speaks to me, what is important to me, how do I want to live? Because we're all so different that one person's life, they might just love it, and the other, that could be the worst thing that they'd want to
right,
do. So again, I commend you and your family for that, because otherwise you're not living your own life and you're living someone else's, and
yeah,
it
right.
gets tiring.
It does, because I've worked many, long overnights. There's a stay where I was there for 72 hours at the hospital, and after like the 68, I said, I have to go home. Just call me. I just have to go home, because it just broke me, basically. And I thought, okay, there's something better than this.
Definitely. So for someone that's, let's say, back up several years of where you're at, of just feeling that burnout of you loved it, but you're just, you know what I mean? You're searching for something else. What are maybe the first couple of steps that they can take to start learning more about it, and just kind of even opening that chapter of, maybe there is something more, maybe I can live a life that's more aligned for me?
Yeah, it's just pretty much networking, go to different meetups. That's what I did first.
Mhm.
Actually, I do host a meetup now, just to open those doors for people who just want to think, okay, is this something I can do? What is this? I've had a lot of people come and say, I always wanted to go into real estate, but I'm not sure. And I'm glad that I found you. You're just building up those trust relationships, because And what I found out, if you're not the smartest person in the room, if you think you're the smartest person in the room, find another room. So I'm almost going to be in the
Exactly.
same room, right? Just to just continue to learn step by step and ask questions, open up. Because I always tell my residents, if you don't ask questions, that's the stupidest thing you can do. And asking for help is not a weakness. Just go out there and find out about what you think you want to know. Because unless you learn and all the, the nitty gritty you can do as a high level first, then there's something that you like, then you can delve into, even more. But I would say just go to some networks, just get an interest and see if this is something that you can do or something that is of value for you, and just talk to people, and they can refer to others that can be. Like for me, obviously, I'm in the healthcare profession. I'm hoping others will come to me. I remember my first webinar I did for a property. I had former residents call me, and they were saying, "Hey, Calvin, I trust you to that I trusted you to train me as a physician. Now I'm trusting you to train me as an investor." So
Right.
I'm like, whoa, here we go, right? So it just things.
Right.
It doesn't matter where you are in life. You can be close to retirement or just starting out. I know a lot of people who are, a lot younger than I am. I said, wow, I wish I was you at your age to look into something
Yes.
to get
Yes,
it started,
definitely.
because it's a long term deal. So just to learn all
And I
that.
think that's also something, it's a great highlight because people think you come in, do a deal, and make a lot of money, either as a broker or as an investor. You buy the one property and now you're kicking back forever in life and your feet are up and you're
Yeah,
traveling on your yacht all over the world. So it's definitely a long-term investment of time and energy, but also the returns.
right.
And that's where I say it's an endurance sport. And I understand that you too are an endurance athlete. So do tell me about that.
Yeah, the hospital has a charity event. It's called it was in Malibu. It was the triathlon that's for raising uh, funds for pediatric cancer research at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. So a few years back, I said, hey, I'll give the challenge. So I've done I've done that twice as a solo, the full thing. And after a while, a
Right.
lot of my friends say, hey, I want to do it, but I don't like swimming. I don't like riding. So I've done the team relay as a result of that. So I've done it twice by myself. I have nothing else to prove, I guess, but I've
Right.
right. I've
Right.
done other triathlons, like the reverse triathlon at the Rose Bowl, a couple at Hermosa Beach. So it's great way. It's just something you can do on yourself and just train yourself to do. So
So out of curiosity, so it's interesting. I have not been bit by that bug. Mine is marathons. I give you complete credit. That just seems like a ton of training. What was your why? Like, what was the impetus for it that got you going on that first one?
it was just a challenge, I think, and just to get myself in better shape, obviously. But I think it was just a drive, and it was for the kids too. So I did have a reason, more for myself. But once I committed to it, I said, okay, I have to do it for the kids, because I see a lot of these children with various different types of cancer that come to the emergency department in different situations, and some life-threatening situations too. So by raising awareness and for the funds of that, but more so, it's just a challenge. I'm not a great swimmer, let alone an ocean swimmer. And I just remember
Right.
going out for the first few times, and panic is the worst thing. And I panicked a couple of times, but then I had a swim mentor, one of my colleagues at the hospital who's done the triathlon a few times. So she said, I'm still afraid of swimming. Let's learn together. So that's what got me through that, and actually became a better swimmer
Nice.
than she did. And it's like now I love going out in the ocean and swim. It's actually
Isn't
my
that
favorite
funny?
part of the triathlon. Uh,
Yeah.
but my strongest is the cycling.
Yeah.
But the swimming part, once you're out there, it's truly an amazing experience.
Well, and it's one of those too. I always say from each endurance race that you do, you become a different person because I think there's different, just a different mindset that you evolve with because you have to continue up level it and like what you're doing for the kids and other things, the awareness. That's definitely something that you want to highlight and would give you that extra oomph towards
Yeah,
the end.
right. Yeah,
Definitely. So my last question for you, Kelvin, and this is always the big one, is what does living fully mean to you?
that's a great question. It's just spending time doing things that you want to do. You know, one of it is I'm going to the point where I want to work when I want to, not when I have to. So all the time afterwards, I can spend time with my wife, my family, do the things I want to do, travel, the usual stuff. But right now, I just didn't thoroughly enjoy the quality time that you have with your loved ones. My kids are getting married, so I want to be healthy enough so that the grandkids, hopefully down the road, spend those special times. Because I remember way back when I was just working so much, missed a lot of little league games, family events, piano recitals, things like that. So now I'm like, okay, I want to stay healthy. As long as I can breathe, walk and talk,
Right.
enjoy those times and just create those memories that, I wish I had more of, but
Right.
there's always hope, right? So I think that's what's
Mhm.
there.
Yeah, well, that's terrific. Well, Kelvin, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciated your time. And please share with our guests how they can best reach you and learn more about you.
Yeah, I'm on my LinkedIn. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. PeacEquity is the name of the company. Just notice that the spelling is a little bit different. It's PeacEquity. You can reach me at cal@peaceequity.com. My contact information is right behind me there, and we also have a website as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, Kelvin.
Thank you.
You bet. Bye bye.